Welcome to And Friends, a showcase about the amazing people involved in all spheres of the entertainment industry, discussing the good, the bad, and the ugly, but most importantly, creating a platform to truly humanize our industry because amazing events don't happen on their own. Today, we're lucky enough to have Willem with us. Willem is a legend in the live events industry in South Africa and someone who always has the best energy on site. So, Willem, thanks for being here. How are you doing?
Hi, everybody. I'm well. Thanks. Thanks for having me.
Willem, maybe you just want to give us a bit of a backstory. So starting from what's your current role in the industry?
Production manager, production coordinator, um, visionary, creative, juice dispenser. um, I see myself as an execution specialist. I like taking creative briefs and then just run with it, trying to execute in any formal way.
And your origin story, where are you from? What's your history? What drew you to the industry?
So it was either choose a lab coat or a leather jacket. That was my decisive path. I was due for another, I think it was a chemical practicum on a Thursday night or whatever at varsity. And I was sick of those. And it was just either go and gig, which we had a band going and it was a small PA system and bookings and all of that crap. And it was like, well, I'm going to play in the band tonight and I'm not going to class. And then it just kind of spiraled from there.
Nice, man. And what was your first sort of introduction to the industry after the band side of things into more of sort of the production role? What's your history in terms of where you worked, your experience and that kind of thing?
For a long time, it was pretty informal. So at varsity for a long time, bookings, bands, seeing how the whole scene works. Then I went and I worked for some hippies, and we built our own events and stages and festivals, which was very difficult in those days. But and then once I got out of that into technician, audio, video, AV, corporate market, I had very long hair, so I'm sure my boss didn't approve of me most of the times. Um, but then back into the band scene, and I was at Mushroom Productions for I think 9 years. Uh, Gave me the opportunity for big concerts and in stadiums, massive productions. Fell in love with stage management there, um, and yeah, activations, creative stuff that comes across the path. Just love executing those and thinking out of the box. Like I love the stage, but I love the creative that goes in before that and bringing other things to life.
So that's kind of is that your best part of the industry? Is that what draws you in every day, keeps you going?
Yeah, the creative of it, the differentness, the versatility. Every day is different, and we all know it in the industry. I love working for myself. The flexibility of it. Um, it's like you can be a harder boss when you're your own boss.
Yeah. When did you start with your own business?
2016, at the end of 2016, I resigned from Mushroom and I went into a marketing venture with a Swiss company beginning 2017. I learned a lot of stuff there and then just kept the ball rolling. So pretty much beginning 2017 till today.
I mean, if we're looking at the industry in general, if there's something that you would want to change in the industry, what would that be? What's something that doesn't sit right with you, or I suppose using this time almost as a reset for something? What would you change if you could?
Yeah, so I think regulation is very important in our industry. To regulate the industry and set standards. Um, it's a big cutthroat industry. We all know it. The price wars, the politics that all goes into it. Um, and in some cases, it becomes very dangerous. The the way that it's not regulated. I mean, as myself, I was a freelancer for a long time. You work 3, 4 gigs on end. You get billed out by other companies or even your boss, and you just go in hour for hour for hour relentlessly and becomes dangerous. I mean, we all know of the cases where people have passed away where they were tired, etc. So I think it's needed for people to have a standard, i.e., like 12 hours of work, and then you can't drive any machinery or climb at heights or whatever. I know those will drive the prices up, but it should be the standard in our industry. So to keep us all safe, and also the regulation of prices. A park can cost a park can for a minimum fee, but to set that minimum fee in our industry is very difficult.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it's impossible at some point. I mean, obviously, other industries are regulated in this way. So either we're just far behind or it might just take a little bit more work for our industry to get there. But it's definitely possible, I think.
Definitely, it must be possible. I don't know if we all love the wild westness of this industry. Um, we can all make it happen, and we all have that kind of mentality. It's just I think we all, and maybe this COVID situation has brought us all a little bit together in terms of all the industries, all the organizations, everybody trying to speak the same language, trying to unify the voice to government. Um, my biggest takeaway would be regulation. We need a regulated industry that we can all thrive and prosper from.
And it's sort of, I want to jump into a bit of fun stuff in terms of like, what would be your best gig? Not necessarily biggest, but like your best gig, your favorite gig that you've ever done in all your years.
It might be one of the ones in the early days, the Killers, when the Killers were in South Africa. I was tasked to be first on the night. I was given the opportunity to go undercover. There was somebody selling fake armbands for Golden Circle, and I was meant to go and find that person. It was in my early days at Mushrooms, so it was very exciting. Found the guy, tackled the guy. You saw walkie-talkies flying and everything. I never played rugby at school, but I think I would have done well based on that tackle.
That was what? That was 2012, wasn't it?
2009.
2009.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, that one stands out. And then taking the band out for drinks and looking after them at night, and kind of chaperoning them. It brought a lot of attention in my single day, so that one stood out.
And on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, your worst. Everyone's got one. You don't have to mention names of the project or whatever, but just give us a bit of an insight into that.
I'm gonna generalize and say any one of them in Nigeria.
That could be fair.
I mean, you wait for days, you there a week, 2 weeks prior, and then load in always just gets staggered, and everything happens the night before. Doesn't matter how much you communicate or you plan or whatever, and then you work through the night and you do the gig and you load out. Yeah, those are always tough for me because you just can't. It's not your gear, it's not your equipment. You can't take control of that.
Yeah.
Gotta rely.
Yeah, you feel really helpless in those situations.
Yeah, you gotta rely on your suppliers, and there your hands are just cut off.
What would you reckon is like the biggest misconception about our industry? What do you think people just assume of our industry, which is not true?
The notion that they think they can do it themselves. Yeah, sure, you can organize a kiddies party, or sure, you can organize your own wedding. Sure, you can organize a conference or an outdoor event or a concert. I think it all boils down to paying for what you get, and experience and creative design and knowledge and safety and all of those things. They come at a cost. So, and it irritates me sometimes thinking, or that the clients think, oh no, we can do it ourselves, and then they just let somebody in their operations department run with their next execution or creative strategy execution or whatever.
Yeah, it's dangerous.
Yeah.
So it's amazing. A lot of people have said that the biggest misconception is glamour, but your one is spot on, actually.
Yeah, glamour's also a big one. I mean, it's very glamorous having dirty hands, rolling cables, waiting till 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, even 9 a.m. in the morning for people to finish. It's very glamorous.
Sure. Oh man. Jumping on to sort of more current things. I know we touched on it briefly, but How is COVID affecting you? How's this pandemic affecting you and your business?
Um, it is, it's tough. It's challenging seeing all your provisional work being halted or cancelled and to make business sense of that. It's hard to see the people that you know suffer, um, and it's hard to stay and trying to keep positive and have a positive perspective and looking for the opportunities in the situations. Um, what comes to mind is a saying that says, "Never let a good crisis go to waste." And it's hard looking for that opportunity. Um, from a company perspective, I mean, yeah, there's just no turnover or income or revenue, nothing that keeps the cogs going. You have to be creative in your negotiations with your landlords and debit orders and stuff like that. Um, on the other side, it's a miracle that it's 2 months in, more than 2 months in for me, and we still here. I mean, by hook or by crook, we still here. Um, I am I'm super excited for the outcome. I know it's going to be a harsh landscape. Um, if I can make it until the end, I'll be very happy and count myself lucky. I think it's going to be a very devastated landscape, but it's going to be full of new opportunities, full of new alliances, full of new companies working together, new suppliers, new interfaces, a lot of new things, and I'm very excited for that.
No, that's amazing, man. What positives are you taking away from this during this time
Um,
in a landscape of negativity? What are the positives you're trying to pull out of it?
I would say look at what's happening around you. Um, look at what's going to happen. Plan a little bit better. Um, I'll spend more time on forecasting in the future, or I'm trying to. Um, and the absolute positive is just to see the humanity in our industry and people trying to help each other. You know, the feed our crew, the safe fund. I haven't seen any of the other industries looking after themselves yet. I mean, I might be wrong, but we've really come together and said, listen, we are all in a in a in a puddle here, but let's try and look after our own. So that's a big positive for me.
Yeah. No, that's amazing, man. And what advice would you give your younger self, looking back?
Um, don't stop trying. Not that I have stopped, but never stop trying. There's always a way. Um, find a fitting solution and just run with it. Don't try and break the doors down that close. Don't run into walls constantly. If it's not meant to happen, it won't happen. I mean, there's a difference between working hard for what you want, but there's also insanity of trying to do the impossible.
Yeah, 100%. And what advice would you give any up and coming kids? Any up and coming kids who are coming to you saying, "What do I do?"
Learn how to roll a cable first. No, I would say um, go for education. Find your value in the knowledge that you own. Um, gain your knowledge in your specific sector or field, and then go for the experience points. Um, there's a saying that our industry is made up of 90% willingness and only 10% knowledge, or eagerness. So I would say gain the knowledge and then take your keenness and go and run with it, because that will leverage you to the top quite quickly.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. That's great, man. Where would you want to see the industry in the next 5 to 10 years? What's your vision for an ideal industry?
Healthy, thriving, prosperous, and regulated.
Nice. Simple but efficient. Nice, man. And then in closing, Willem, I mean, just one of these other questions that we kind of just like to throw out as well. But in your history, in your career, who would you say has been the biggest mentor to you? Not necessarily in our industry specifically, just someone who's helped mold you into the person you are.
There's three people. Mark Daubney from Mushroom Productions. He really gave me a step up, and I'll never forget that. Graham Cunningham from Mushroom Productions. I learned a lot from both of them, and I'll never forget that. And then Mark Ransom. Yeah, all three of them have different viewpoints and strengths, and yeah, between those three, I can kind of see the guy that I want to be in the future.
That's amazing. Sure, that's incredible, man. Willem, thank you so much for sharing your story with us. I really appreciate your time and you being here. We want to encourage all of you to share your stories and connect with your industry friends using the hashtag #AndFriends. We hope this can grow into a platform to inspire, share, and unify our industry, and we can't wait to learn about all of your stories. See you next time. Thanks.